What's up? What's going on? Happy Friday. This is the George on Tap, Sports on Tap daily show. What's on tap in sports? And it's as always brought to you by Underdog. If you use promo code on tap, you can get up to a 50% bonus on your first deposit using our code. Underdog is a great place to build out your daily fantasy gambling or picks. For example, on our daily betting show today on Underdog, we did a 3-player prayer. Lawrence Butler, 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs higher. Albert Suarez, 6 hits allowed lower. And Danny Jansen, 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs also lower. And that's always brought to you by the Sports on Tap. So make sure you use promo code on tap and you'll be able to get up to a huge $1,000 in bonus cash. Plus, you'll get a free promo bet. For example, this week, Travis Kelce, just a half a yard, and you'll end up winning. Yes, winning that bet. What's on tap? Travis Hunter is freaking amazing at football. Holy moly, guacamole, whatever you want to say. Travis Hunter just dominated yesterday against NDSU. And so did Shedeur Sanders. Both these guys were just fantastic. And it made me think, everyone hates on Colorado. They barely beat a FBS or FCS school. NDSU's, though, is very, very good. They're like Division II powerhouses. But that's not my point. Everyone is wondering, God, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Henry, Colorado. Let me tell you one thing. Travis Hunter is good enough to be the number 1 overall pick in next year's NFL draft. He plays offense and defense. He's like Deion Sanders back in the day. He's a top 5 pick. Shedeur Sanders is amazing, fantastic, great, amazing. Like whatever adjective you want to use to describe Shedeur, you can use that adjective to describe Shedeur. He's also probably a top 5 pick. And whatever you think of Colorado, they got 2 guys on this team that can be top 5 picks. And to me, that's a good way to say, hey, this team might actually be better than we think. They might make a bowl game. I'm not saying they're going to be competing for a college football playoff. But, I mean, look at this catch yesterday by Travis Hunter. It was one of the best catches I've seen. The dude is amazing. His stats are not real. Yesterday, on offense, 55 snaps. He had 7 catches for 132 yards and 3 touchdowns. On 69 defensive snaps. These numbers are just insane. He had 3 catches allowed for 18 yards. It is unbelievable. I mean, he broke the internet yesterday. He's going to be a star. And I mean, our Robert Griffin III said yesterday, Travis Hunter keeps showing me that he can and should play both wide receiver and cornerback in the NFL full time. He is a unicorn. That makes great point. He must be in great shape. LaShawn McCoy made a great point here. He plays offense and defense the whole time, basically. He's in the amazing shape. Travis Hunter on respecting North Dakota State. And he says all the right things. I watched 10 hours of film this week. He might, if he keeps putting up these stats, be the Heisman Trophy. Robert Griffin also said Shedeur Sanders isn't just a top 5 pick. Travis Hunter isn't just a top 5 pick. They're both worthy of being the first picks of the NFL draft. Let's talk about Shedeur Sanders here for a moment. And I spelled his name wrong. By the way, hard name to spell. And we're gonna keep spelling it wrong. So we're going to a good old Google here and copying and pasting his name into Twitter to see what people were saying yesterday about Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders yesterday was amazing as well. Here's one of the reads he had. As you can see, he just makes the right throws. People are talking about some insane plays he has. He's mobile. He's fast. He's accurate. He makes all the right reads. Shedeur Sanders is really good at football. I could see him being a Las Vegas Raider. He should be a top 5 pick. He got, the Nike watch commercial yesterday. He's a first-round NFL quarterback for sure. Top 5 pick. I agree. Everything about Shedeur Sanders looked good yesterday. He threw an interception, yes. I don't know why all his old stats are up right now. Week 2, prop bets from last year. But let's take a look at some of his stats. Thank you, Twitter, for providing me no value there as I try to provide everyone here some value. Usually you guys do a little bit of a better job than that. Let's go Big 12. We're going to share this tab instead and take a look at some of the box scores because they were ridiculous. Shedeur Sanders yesterday, 26 for 34, 445 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. That pick went off a player's foot or calf and bounced into the air into the end zone. It wasn't really Shedeur Sanders' fault. The run game probably could have done a little bit better for Colorado, but these two are who you want to really take a look at. Jimmy Horn Jr., son of Jim Horn from the New Orleans Saints, 7 catches, 198 yards and a touchdown. Travis Hunter, we already talked about it, 7 catches, 132 yards, 3 touchdowns. I don't know if Colorado, Deion Sanders, and the whole entire Colorado football team is going to be like a great football team or not this year. But I'll tell you one thing about them. They're going to be electric. They're going to be must-watch TV. They're going to be fun to watch. And they're going to turn a lot of heads, and they're going to make a lot of people tune in to watch Colorado football. And that's something Colorado's never said before. They are the most popular team in college football, whether you like it or not. There's no team that draws right now like the University of Colorado. There's not going to be ratings. I'm sure you're going to have some big-time matchups, but one off, you're not going to see ratings like Colorado anywhere else in this world. They are must-watch television, whether they're good or bad. And they were bad at the end of last season, and they started off hot. But you want to take a look at this team's schedule? Let's take a look at Colorado's schedule here going forward for the next few weeks and see if at Nebraska, I'm telling you, that's must watch. At Colorado State rivalry game, must watch. Now, the big test here is how will they do on the road at Nebraska? At the road on a rivalry game at Colorado State. And then they end the season with a gauntlet of Utah, Kansas, Oklahoma State, Arizona, Kansas. I mean, they got a lot of games where they're going to be underdogs or they're going to be favorites because it doesn't matter what the line is. People are going to be betting on them. Can't wait to see what happens with Colorado football here the rest of the way, but they are just must-watch television, plain and simple. And I'm all for that. I'm always for must-watch television, and I'm sure you guys are too. All right, let's talk about Dabo Swinney. Georgia, Clemson, opening game, 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 o'clock. By the way, you got to make these games a little later. If you're Clemson and Georgia fans, make that 6 o'clock. Let these guys get a little bit liquored up and get ready to have a really good time at 6 p.m. Plus, if whoever wins, it's only 4 o'clock. They're going to be drinking all night anyway. Might as well make them wait for the game to start. That's just my opinion here. But this is a huge season for Dabo Swinney. Dabo Swinney has not had Clemson humming the way Clemson usually is humming. Now, they've been good. They're still a top 15 team, I think, entering the season. I think they're maybe 14th in the country right now. I want to just, confirm that with you. I think they're 14th. Yeah, 14th in the country right now, taking on number 1 Georgia in a game where usually Clemson should be like the way they can that program was in the past. This should be a top 5 team. We should be having number 4 Clemson versus number 1 Georgia. But Dabo Swinney has not been able to adjust to the new world of college football. And that's a problem because He really, really needs to adapt. And I think adaptation is the most important thing a human being can do. The thing is, he's also like been combative. He won't take calls from local radio shows this year because someone criticized him last year. Dabo Sweeney needs to adjust. Dabo Sweeney needs to open up his like ability to take a look at like the new landscape of college football and go through the transfer portal. Make sure that you are always doing what's best. Make sure you are at a point here in college football where you are okay with the NIL. It sucks. I get it. A lot of people hate it, myself included. I'm not like, look, I think the NIL serves a great purpose. I think that NIL has some great thoughts behind it, but not like this. We don't need investment firms and having school funded NILs. I thought name, image, and likeness was making money off your name, image, and likeness. For example, this is a Starbucks cup. I got a Starbucks cup here. You like my Starbucks cup? An NIL deal with Starbucks to do commercials is what I thought NIL was supposed to be. Not some investment firm just donating money to the university having its own fund. I mean, Colorado approached the Saudi Arabia government. So I understand that Dabo doesn't like this. And I understand he doesn't love the transfer portal. I think, in my opinion, the transfer portal is totally fine. If I'm a university student and I don't like the university I'm going to, then next year I can transfer out. Shoot, I can unroll and transfer the next semester. Totally fine with that. Dabo, embrace it. You need to if you want to compete with the Kirby Smarts of the world. Also, important here, and very, very important in my opinion, if you want to win, you're going to have to go work through that NIL. Maybe you'll change in a few years, Dabo, but right now's the time you got to just embrace it, take advantage of it. Clemson, by the way, you would kick ass in the NIL and probably make a lot of money, probably spend a lot of money, and they'll make their players happy. This is a huge year for Dabo. Clemson is in a weak ACC. Sorry. I mean, if you look at their schedule, they open up against Georgia. Let's give them a loss here if I'm betting on them plus 11.5. And they got App State they should beat, NC State they should beat, Stanford they should beat, at Florida State is a 50-50 game. Then Wake Forest, Virginia, Louisville, at Pitt, the Citadel, and South Carolina. There is no way Clemson should lose more than 2 games this season, or Dabo Sweeney is going to have to change the way he looks and approaches college football. All right, so Brandon Aiyuk, he has been a huge story. He was rumored that he was going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. He was going to be a Washington Commander. He was going to be a Cleveland Brown. He was going to be a New England Patriot. He didn't want that 4-year, $120 million deal that the San Francisco 49ers offered him earlier this offseason. He said, no way, Jose. Well, he just signed a 4-year, $120 million extension with the San Francisco 49ers. He caved in. George Lynch said, at some point, you got to play football. And that's what Brandon Aiyuk is doing now. He's ready to play some football. Now, Brandon Aiyuk, to me, is a very talented wide receiver. Brandon Aiyuk could be a top 5, 6, 7, 8 wide receiver in the NFL. I think all parties involved did it right here. The 49ers paid him the money that he's worth, market value or a little higher or a little lower, somewhere in the middle. Brandon Aiyuk gets to stay on a franchise where he can be competing for division titles and Super Bowls, and hopefully they're not competing for many of those because I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan, first and foremost. But this is a huge get for the San Francisco 49ers. They needed Brandon Aiyuk. Brandon Aiyuk needed them. And plain and simply here, they were able to go ahead and, meet in that middle ground and get the money. He got the money he deserved. He really did deserve it. I mean, he's one of the most electric players in the NFL. And without him, really, the 49ers don't really have a prototypical, like really, really good wide receiver. Look, wow, I'm sorry. Debo Samuel. I was just talking about Dabo Sweeney in the previous segment. Is really good. But you kind of forget Dabo. Debo Samuel is more of like a weapon than anything else. Um, and in general, of course, you got Christian McCaffrey, who's amazing, but he's also out of a backfield. So Brandon Aiyuk provides them their only he's the real wide receiver on the team. Let's take a look at some of the contracts that wide receivers have gotten this summer. Justin Jefferson, 4 years, 140. CD Lamb, 4 years, 136. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 4 years, 120.01. Brandon Aiyuk, 4 years, 120. I think he fits in right there. He shouldn't get the money Justin Jefferson gets. He shouldn't get the money CD Lamb gets. But somewhere between that, AJ Brown, 3 years, 96, and CD Lamb, 4 years, 136. I mean, they must have showed him this and said, hey, dude, you probably think you're better than these guys because that's what athletes all think. I'm better than everyone else. But in general, he knows this is not where he needs to be. And he got the right contract. The 49ers get their weapon back. And it just goes to show nowadays that how good in our wide receivers, how valued our wide receivers. Players love them. In general, this is the market. The market is what the market is. And this is where the NFL is at this point. You need your weapons. You got your weapons. You pay your weapons. And you go on and play some football. Well, that long standoff, all for nothing, is now over. And the 49ers got their wide receiver. All right. Thank you for watching the Sports on Tap, Georgia on Tap, What's on Tap show. I'm just throwing on tap. I think I'm going to start off the show like that. Instead of, the Matthew McConaughey, all right. I'm going to be on tap. Thank you for watching. Brought to you by Underdog, as always. Use promo code ONTAP to get a bonus on your first deposit. I'm just going to show you guys that here before we log off. Use promo code ONTAP on Underdog. Get up to 1,000 bonus cash, claiming your 50% deposit match. We build out our play of the day using Underdog, which is Lawrence Butler, Albert Suarez, and Danny Jansen. And you can only get this Travis Kelce half a yard special by using our promo code for first-time depositors on tap. And it'll help us out. So make sure you go and deposit. Just got to, do your first bet of a year. Enjoy playing some player props. My name is George on Tap. Thank you for watching. And we will see you guys next time.